Hello and welcome to Pub Football. Welcome to the first official Pub Football of the 2020-21 Premier League season. It's the first preview episode where we predict all the scores from the weekend's games. Round number 1 of Premier League action. One of the hardest rounds to predict, if we're being honest, because these are the rounds when one form sort of goes out the window at the start of the season. You get some upsets, you get some weird results.
Yeah.
Teams haven't settled into their rhythm, but also some teams that might have been brilliant last year will have a shocker this season. And I know it's not been long, not been a big turnaround like normal.
Yeah.
There's not been as many signings as sometimes happens, but we're going to have a crack at predicting this weekend's games. Let's start with Saturday, 12:30. The first game of the Premier League season is at Craven Cottage. Newly promoted Fulham hosting Arsenal. I think it'll be an away win.
So do I. I think it'd be a comfortable away win as well. It's difficult to know what's going to happen, isn't it? But obviously Arsenal have strengthened well, and I think they'll have way too much for Fulham. 2-0.
I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. I think Fulham might nick a goal. Just
Mitrovic.
When they come up, it happens. Burnley Man United has been postponed, so that's not happening at 12:30 on Saturday anymore. At 3 o'clock, Palace Southampton. Away win for me.
Yes, agreed. Yeah. As you said, Palace haven't really done a lot, have they?
Looking forward to seeing Eberici Eze.
Yeah.
But again, we said this in previous videos, whether he has the shackles on or he's been given a free rein will be the difference between him being a great signing and a completely waste of a signing.
And I expect to see Danny Ings hit the ground running again, so 2-1 away win.
I'm going to go 2-0. I don't think Palace will create much. Also would have been kicking off at 3 o'clock is Man City Aston Villa, but that's been postponed as well. The two Manchester clubs having to wait for their first game of the season. 5:30, this is the biggest game of Saturday. Leeds' big grand return to the Premier League. They're heading to Anfield to play Liverpool, the reigning champions. Champions of the Championship versus champions of the Premier League. Big game. I think this might be a little bit of a wake-up call for Leeds.
Yeah, I remember when Norwich went to Anfield the first game last season, got absolutely hammered. Agreed. I think it might be a massive a wake-up call to go, oh my God, this is the big time here. We aren't ready for this. I think they're going to lose 3-0.
3-1, Rodrigo. Get a goal early doors. At 8 o'clock on Saturday, so there's loads of football on the telly. West Ham hosting Newcastle. This is a game that actually I think the players are going to be luckiest behind closed doors because West Ham fans are not happy at all with their owners getting rid of Grady in Ghana, not strengthening the squad properly, not seeming to have any ambition, any direction, any drive. They don't like them. The captain doesn't like the owners anymore. Mark Noble's been speaking out. This would have been a toxic atmosphere. But what I do think we're going to see is a poor West Ham performance.
So do I think it's going to be a terrible game. I think Newcastle's going to nick it 1-0.
I think Newcastle will do all right. I think that Callum Wilson will play well. They've got some good attacking players. I actually think it's going to be 2-0 Newcastle.
Nice. Sorry, West Ham.
On to Sunday's games. The earlier kick-off at 2 o'clock is West Brom against Leicester. This is an interesting one to call. I actually think this might be a draw because Leicester weren't good at the end of last season. West Brom weren't particularly good either, but coming up into the Premier League, those players will be really up for it. I think it might be 1-1.
Yeah, first game back in the big time, as you said, stumbled over the line to get into the Premier League. And yeah, as you say, it's going to be tight. I think Leicester are just about going to have enough. I know they were poor towards back in the last season, but I like them to get off to a good start. 2-1 away win.
2-1 Leicester. 4 o'clock, Tottenham hosting Everton at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Now, they played at the end of last season in one of the worst games I've ever watched.
It was awful,
It was so boring.
Yeah.
I think Tottenham are going to win. I think it's going to be fairly dull. I think that Everton's players need a little bit more time to settle in, even if they are going to play well this season. We've said we have reservations about James. I have reservations about Decore after how bad he was at Watford last season. Allen is new to the Premier League as well. There may be that they've just come in slightly too late to really stamp their mark on an Everton side, knowing their teammates.
Yeah.
Whereas Tottenham got their business done a lot earlier. I just think Tottenham will scrape it, but 1-0. But I think Tottenham will get across the line.
Yeah, agreed. It's going to be tight. It's probably going to be quite dull. And as you said, I don't think all three of those new starters for Everton will play. I think at least
Andre Gomez.
Exactly. Andre Gomez has been brilliant. I think Harry Kane will score a penalty and it'll be a 1-0 win.
On to Monday night. 2 games Monday night as well. What a way to get back into the Premier League.
God.
Sheffield United hosting Wolves. This is a big game. that I think will finish 2-2, and I think both of those teams are going to finish near each
You're
other.
going for goals? What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
I am. I think there's going to be goals. I think that I saw a lot more goals behind closed doors than I thought I would.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
I think there'll be mistakes. I think that players will be sharper than they normally are at the start of the season because they haven't had as much time off.
Yeah.
But I also think that there'll be those little lapses in concentration that comes from not playing. So it's almost an oxymoron there. They'll be sharper, but not as sharp at the same time. And what I mean by that is some of those crisp passes will go through, some of the finishing will be better, but players might switch off a little bit, which is where it's going to favour the attackers. And I think it'll be 2-2.
Do you? I think it's going to be a 2-1 away win. I think it'll be the start of a very good season for Wolves.
We have differing opinions on how we think Wolves might go this year. And the last game of the weekend is Brighton-Chelsea, the team that we think might win the title, travelling away to a team that we both think will improve on last season. So it's an interesting game.
They only played a few weeks ago behind closed doors, didn't they?
And Chelsea
actually
won.
had fans in the stadium. Yeah.
And Werner scored.
So yeah, that bodes well. And as you say, I think it's going to be a strong, confident start from Chelsea. 2-0 away win.
So I'm going to go 3-0. I think
Strong
Werner will
statement.
score a double, and I think Hakim Ziyech will shot with one for good luck.
Havertz assists. That's what we like to see.
All three of them. And Kante will just be an absolute beast at the back. That was Pub Football Predicts. That was the first one of the season. We'll be back early next week to review these games. We're glad to be back doing football again. Some of them will be with us in here together, which we're enjoying. Occasionally they'll be on Zoom, just depends on what's going on and whether we can get together. But please do like and subscribe to the channel, leave your thoughts in the comments, and follow us on Instagram at pub_football. But for now, enjoy the first weekend of Premier League football. Cheers!